Hey Aries, this is your March 2021 horoscope. My name is Katie Sweetman with Empowering Astrology. Let's look at your astrology for this month. So, sort of the big news this month is the fact that Mars, your planet, changes signs. Now, wherever Mars is pointing towards sort of talks about where the main focus is at any certain point. Mars will spend about 5-6 weeks in one sign, apart from, retrograde here and there. We had that in 2020. But for the last 5-6 weeks, you've had Mars in Taurus since January 6th. So this has been a time about material stability, material security, gathering resources, focusing on your money, your income, how you earn living. But when Mars goes into Gemini, it's a very different story. Taurus and Gemini are very different signs. If Taurus is Earth, is the physicality of life, then Gemini is the mind, its ideas, its information, its movement. So when Mars goes into Gemini on March 3rd, you're going to start a new 5-6 week chapter of really exploring your mind, which means taking classes, learning, reading, getting, kind of lost in conversations. There's a busyness to Mars and Gemini. In fact, there's actually a restlessness. So it's quite possible that you feel like you're a little restless for most of March going into April. You may be even on the go because Gemini is a sign of travel, as much, of course, as we can do these days. Now, this part of the chart is more about travel on a smaller scale. So whether it's running around your neighborhood, running around your town, having to go back and forth to get things, it just might be a, like I said, busy month, but not one where you're going too terribly far from home. In general, this is, we have to also note that the eclipses have been happening in Gemini and Sagittarius. Now, the last time we had eclipses was the end of November going into December, but we have to sort of see Mars, even though it's your planet, as a trigger. And I mean this, it brings the eclipse story forward, even though it happened 3-4 months ago. We're going to have, by the way, eclipses in Gemini in June 10th. I know I'm kind of getting a little bit ahead of myself, but this means that whatever story was seeded back in November, December about travel, about education, about ideas and information, learning, how you use your mind, and even choices. I think it's important to understand that Gemini is the sign of choices. So you may be having to weigh some choices right now, especially with Mercury. It's been a little bit with Saturn, maybe it's serious choices, but that's where a lot of the main focus is right now. And there's kind of this dichotomy happening this month. Like I said, Mars and Gemini is a very restless placement for your planet. Meanwhile, you still have a lot of planets over in Aquarius. Aquarius is a sign of friends, community, networking. So maybe, this restlessness or information or ideas or connection is happening with your friends, your social network, your professional network as well. But we can't forget that it's Pisces season. And Pisces represents the end of your zodiac calendar. So your birthday is the start of your personal year. So Pisces is the sign that happens before Aries, ergo, it's the end of your personal year. When you get to the end of your personal year, it's time to pull back. It's time to reflect. It's time to look at everything that's happened over the last year, the choices that you've made, the directions you've gone, and what worked, what didn't work. I realized 2020 was obviously a very extraordinary year, so just sort of measure the distance between this birthday and even the month before your birthday and your last birthday. Pisces is a very spiritual sign, so when we have the Pisces New Moon on March 13th, you're opening up a new lunar month, which is about exploring deeper existential questions. What does this all mean? Why am I here? What am I doing? You need to kind of go within. You need to find those answers within. Now, Pisces talks about the search for meaning, but the search for meaning is not happening in a book. It's not happening in another country. It's not happening in another, education. It's happening within. So that mind, as I was saying earlier, Mars over in Gemini is so much about information, ideas, movement, restlessness, travel. But there's this sort of push and pull going on. So maybe as you're doing a lot of inner work this month, you're talking about how you feel. You're talking about what you've experienced over the last 12 months. You're talking about your inner truth, or even your faith, your convictions. So do know that when you in particular get into Pisces season, don't push. Even though I said there's kind of this odd story that's happening, it is about movement, but at the same time, you can't go too fast. It's still Pisces season. So this new moon is also a great time to sort of make a list of what you want to let go, especially as you go into, prepare for this new year. Jupiter is over in Aquarius, so maybe you're getting involved with spiritual groups, or maybe you're thinking about how do you create more spiritual community or nourish your friendships on a spiritual level. Jupiter, it's kind of sort of close to Saturn in the sky there. They had their conjunction back in December, so do keep in mind that you're in a 2-year period where you have to get really serious about the people in your life, the type of friends that you have, the type of networks and communities that you're part of. And Saturn is a little brutal when it's in this part of your chart. It's sort of going through your contacts in your phone and just saying nope, or on social media, who are your friends? So this new moon might ping this sort of deeper story about who are your friends. Speaking of pinging deeper stories, this new moon is at 23 degrees of Pisces. It's exactly square, as we'd say in astrology, the Sagittarius new moon on December 14th of 2020. So this new moon has some eclipse energy. Eclipse energy means that sort of one chapter is ending, another is opening. There's some twists and turns. Things are happening quickly. People are coming in and out of our life, just sort of giving you a heads up, of course. When the planets start to, I think it's just Mercury goes into Pisces on March 15th. Again, it's another time to slow down, to reflect, to give words to your intuition, maybe even your dreams. Maybe you're keeping a dream journal. But when the sun goes into Aries on March 20th, you start your birthday season. So happy early birthday, Aries. Now, of course, when the sun goes into Aries, it's the start of the astrological year. It's the start of your personal year. It's a time of new beginnings. Here in the northern hemisphere, it is the start of spring. So these green shoots coming out of the ground after our long winter. So when the sun goes into Aries, it's going to pick up on Mars and Gemini, and you're going to want to move, go, travel, explore. There's going to be a very different energy as you go into your birthday season, as opposed to the couple of weeks or few weeks before the first few weeks of March. The next day, Venus goes into Aries. Now, Venus is not, traditionally at home in Aries, but it does give you a little boost, a little bit of charm, a little bit of, let's say, pizzazz. Venus, is this planet that normally wants to focus on diplomacy, cooperation, relationships. And Venus is your relationship planet, so maybe you're entering a little bit more of a dynamic phase if you are in a relationship for the rest of this month. If you're not in a relationship, maybe somebody's coming into your life, maybe somebody that's really kind of challenging or making that Aries side get very interested and excited. Later this month, speaking of relationships, we have a Libra full moon on March 28th. This full moon puts the spotlight again on relationships, but not just romantic relationships, it's all relationships. This part of your astrological chart talks about socialization, interaction, meaning even though you're an Aries, even though you're here to teach us how to do things alone, how to lead and be courageous, the full moon in Libra is a reminder that you can't do everything by yourself. You have to find harmony, you have to find balance, you have to find cooperation. This full moon will put a spotlight on a relationship. It could be a romantic relationship that you are currently in, or somebody coming in if you're not in a romantic relationship, or just might put a spotlight on how you interact with people. Venus is over in Aries, as I was saying earlier, but it's also making something called a conjunction to Chiron. So there's something about this full moon that's kind of touching on a pain point. Maybe you need to have more courage in relationships. Maybe you need to stand up for yourself. Or maybe there's something about how you are interacting with somebody that's kind of hitting like I said, a pain point. Chiron talks about the things that we have to heal. So there's something with this full moon that something needs to be resolved. And maybe it's on a relational level. Maybe it's just simply on how do you bring more harmony and balance into your life. Because if you look at the sky right now, everything's sort of on one side of the sky. All the planets are sort of bunched up in about 3 or 4 signs right now. So there's not a lot of balance. It's sort of lopsided at the moment. So how do you create more balance in your life? And let's not forget that Saturn is in Aquarius. It'll be in Aquarius for the next couple of years. And at the heart of all of our astrology in 2021 is a need to bring balance back to our life, both on a personal level, on a systems level, on a network, on a humanity level. I know it's a tall order, but you're an Aries. I know you can do it. So that was your look at the astrology of March of 2021. My name is Katie Sweetman. I'm with Empowering Astrology. You can follow me online at empoweringastrology.com. I'm also on Instagram, Empowering Astro, Facebook, Empowering Astrology, Twitter, and there you go. So thank you for listening to your March 2020 horoscope. See you all next month. Bye.